Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A Tennessee judge has indicated that a school district violated the Constitution by sending school students to religious schools. Hi, I'm Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Deryl Edwards, president of Liberty Counsel Action. Deryl, this situation here involves a Jefferson County, Tennessee situation where in that county the school students were actually sent to Christian schools because they didn't have the funding or the ability to educate some of these particular needs students in the secular schools. It would be something that would benefit the students. But now a judge said that that violates the Constitution.
Yeah, it's the Kingswood School, a Christian-based school, and they're worried about the teaching that it may have offered its troubled students. Although they say they taught no religious instruction, they just had some Bible verses on the walls.
Yeah, this decision here involves a school district where they don't have the facilities or the funding or the capability to be able to educate a whole segment of their students that need the education within that county. So as a result of that, the Board of Education for Jefferson County tried to save money, and they weren't intending to send them to religious schools for the purpose of proselytizing them. They wanted to get them a good education in the best way they could. So they turned to a Christian-based school called Kingswood School for teaching its troubled students, and now the judge says that that runs afoul of the Establishment Clause. Now the good news is that the county attorney, Jonathan Taylor, says that they have filed an appeal, and that'll go to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals.
What do you think will happen there?
You know, there's some good judges on the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and it depends upon, unfortunately, what judges are on that panel. I think some judges obviously have their own ideological bent. And this is the unfortunate thing that's happening right now in the judicial system, is that some judges are imposing their own ideology despite what the Constitution says. Clearly, this is not an establishment of religion. The fact that they go to a religious facility, school, does not establish a religion. This school is not teaching these kids a Bible. The public school is not sending them to the religious school to teach them specific religious doctrine. They're sending these troubled kids to the school because they have no facilities and resources to be able to handle them, so they send them over to the Christian schools. The Christian schools have the ability to do it, and as you mentioned, the Christian schools are not teaching religion. They may have some Bible verses on the wall, but that doesn't establish a religion simply because they have a Bible verse on the wall. The fact of the matter is, I think this is a problem that we're seeing with the courts, and this court and those people who filed suit have no interest in the ultimate education of these children.
This is kind of a long-term problem, isn't it? It harks back to the days when a child may draw a picture of Jesus on a poster or a card and try to hang it into the wall, and people say, well, that's an establishment of religion. I think it's ridiculous. It's
ridiculous, and you know what we have here is the people who ultimately were bringing the lawsuit were teachers in the public schools whose jobs would be in jeopardy because the school doesn't have the money because of budget cuts in the economy to be able to fund the kind of education for these troubled students. So some teachers may ultimately, the education unions are concerned that maybe if this goes over to a Christian school, then they'll have competition and some of these people won't be able to have jobs. So they're the ones bringing the lawsuit. They really could care less about the school students. What are they going to do? If the judge ultimately is upheld on appeal and these religious schools can't educate these kids, what's the secular schools going to do? They're going to keep them in this situation. They're not going to give them a good education. And these kids, because of some people's interest in their own pocketbook and their animosity to anything that is Christian, will ultimately end up being pushed through the system. They'll ultimately become the dregs of society because they're not going to get a good education.
Well, part of this shows sort of the waste and abuse that's inherent in government and the cost overruns, because it says here in the article, at least 2 other Tennessee school systems opted to send their alternative school students there because it was cheaper to do so than to run their own alternative school. They couldn't do the same job as at low of a cost as the Christian school could do.
Well, public schools, in terms of the cost of educating a student in a public school, in many cases is much higher than it is in a private Christian school. Because you have all of this extra bureaucracy in the public school, you have all the other benefits and the payments and the waste of money. I know, for example, I represented a number of school districts in Florida when I had my own private law firm. And one school district in northern Florida was actually moving into a facility where they were getting new equipment. I went there one day to do a deposition, and I saw all of these brand new pieces of equipment, tens of thousands of dollars for each one. Could be a copier that might have been $25,000, $30,000 just for that particular machine. And they were all over this particular area. And they were in brand new boxes, never even been opened up. I asked the person, what are these for? And they said, well, things that we can't use. We just can't use these pieces of equipment. And that some bureaucrat had just simply gone through and ordered all of this and sent it to us, paid for the money, but we can't use it. So they're just sitting here.
It sort of harks back to the bureaucracy of the Soviet Union when you had central planners sort of dictating what someone got, and it made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what Congressman Bob McEwen says, that when you have a third-party purchase, when someone else is making the purchase with money that's not theirs to give to somebody for something that they will not use, so the money's not theirs and they're not going to use it, then the quality of the purchase goes down and the cost of the purchase goes up. And that's exactly what you have with a lot of the government. Every government purchase is a third-party purchase. They're purchasing money that is not theirs. It comes from us. And oftentimes they're buying things that they will not personally use, so they don't really care about the quality. Here, what we have in the public schools, I think, if you run around the country and you see all of the millions and millions of dollars that are being put into the hard infrastructure of public schools, if we would free up the private sector and give vouchers to individuals and let them go to a school of their choice, private secular school, private religious school, school of their choice, no matter what choice that is, we could educate our kids for a fraction of the cost, and the quality of education would skyrocket.
There are those that would argue that that would be an establishment of religion itself by using taxpayer money, which is really money that came from the taxpayers, to send students to a Christian school. But I wanted to go back to this because people don't seem to understand, I guess, that they fall into the trap that the separation of church and state, and you can have no mention of religion. But that's not true. The courts have actually allowed, haven't they, release time and certain things within the school day that you could have religious instruction.
Yeah. Schools allow release time where you actually can have a time during the day, 2 to 3 o'clock, whatever time that is, you set aside, and during that time you release the students from the school. They could go across the street to a mobile facility, or if the church happens to be located right there, they could go there, and the church, wherever it's located, can bus them to and from the particular facility. And during that time, they can have specific religious instruction. Those who don't want to go, you can have them stay, for example, for study hall. So those kinds of things are clearly permissible. And just because it's religious and it appears on public property doesn't make it unconstitutional, or just because it's a program like this and it happens to appear in a property that's owned by Christians or people of faith doesn't make it unconstitutional as well. The question that you really have to ask is this an establishment of religion? The answer is clearly no. It's not an establishment of religion by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, we've come really far from what the founders meant when they talked about Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. It's being bent and warped and twisted completely out of recognition.
Well, we actually have a Patriots Handbook. We have a series of them, one on American liberty, which are the Constitution, the Declaration, and other documents. But another one that we've created is a Patriots Handbook on religious freedom in public schools. And we've actually sent that Patriots Handbook to every principal in the nation, around 100,000 K through 12 public school principals in the country. If you want a copy of the Patriots Handbook on religious liberty in public schools, give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. You can get a number of those copies. Every principal got one, but not every teacher got one. They're very cost affordable, So give us a call. You can order them in bulk and send them to all of the people in your local school district and on your school board. As school begins to start for the new year, it's time that we educate and take a proactive perspective on the rights of students and the religious freedom rights that should be protected and respected in the public schools. Call us right now, 1-800-671-1776, or go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org, and ask for the Patriots Handbook on religious liberty. We also have a number of other resources that are available. You can find out more at lc.org and click on our resources page. Also, make sure that you remember Liberty Counsel with your prayers and your regular financial support. Liberty Counsel is a tax-deductible organization. All of the work we do is pro bono, free of charge, and we can only do that with your prayers and support.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.